Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel, Jo Knows Adventure. And you know I'm on my adventure of a cruise from London to Copenhagen. And on this cruise, my first port of call, and I hope I don't butcher, Le Havre, France. And from Le Havre, France, we can go to Paris, or what I chose to do was to go to the Normandy D beaches. So let's get started with this great adventure, and I hope you join me all the way through, because it's a very, very somber and interesting place to go. Well, good morning from Le Havre, France. And today is Tuesday, and it's May the 14th. So good morning, everybody. So today I'm going on an excursion, not through the ship, but through Viator, V like Victor, I-A-T-O-R. And I'm going to go up to Normandy and see the D-Day beaches. The weather is not good today. It's probably going to be cold, but it's supposed to be just cloudy about noontime. So it's a light sprinkle right now. But I'll be on a bus almost all the way up there and making a couple stops. Kind of a nice day. They provide a nice sandwich lunch, and just the history of going up there is going to be good. So today I am, besides having to wear a jacket, a rain jacket, and bring an umbrella just in case, I'm wearing this top here with my call them hunter green or green capris and tennis shoes. My jewelry, as I'm going to feature, as if you can see if it focuses, this is Touchstone Jewelry. So I have the little necklace, matching earrings. I have the ring is Touchstone, and the sparkly bracelet. So I chose to wear the Swarovski this morning. I don't know if you saw my pack with me video. Well, my pack, yeah, you'll see my pack with me video I'm releasing Friday. But I did match jewelry, and my Swarovski jewelry, I'm going to leave a link down below for Touchstone Jewelry through my lady Kim, and it'll be a link to her website, and you can look at the Touchstone book and see if there's anything you like. But I love her jewelry. Her Touchstone is Swarovski, and it's good. So just my normal rings here and watch. So I'm gonna get going to go. So I have a little alarm clock. We had to go an hour ahead today. So I didn't set my watch. It doesn't have an alarm. And so I set the clock, but I forgot to push alarm on. So I didn't get up at 6. I got up at 6:30. So I'm a little half hour, a little late. So I'm not, it's 7:30 now. I'm supposed to be meeting them at 8:30 off the ship. So we are docked and we can get off the ship now. I don't have anything to grab to eat, so I'll oh, I have some fig Newtons. Maybe I'll have a couple of those. I'm really not hungry. We had a nice dinner last night. Of course, I'll recap each day at the evening, but yesterday was just getting on board and meeting my friends Steve and Cindy, and just we went and had a quick little appetizer and came back to the room, kind of unpacked. My bags were here, and then we went to dinner at Cagney's. And you know, Cagney's is big. I had a New York steak. Of course, I'll feature that, but it was very filling, and it was not early. I mean late. We sat right in at 5:30, and we were out by about 7. So we kind of walked around a little bit. They had some things that they needed to do. So I kind of walked with them. And then I said, you know, I got to call it a night because I'm still jet lagged. Well, last night. I feel good today. So I think I'm back to normal. But anyway, let me get going now and I'll take you guys with me for the day. All right. And don't worry, I'll give you a room tour as well. I'll do it when the bed's made. All right, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. P.S. I'm in a studio, so I can go down to the lounge and have coffee. They have pastries down there. Like I mentioned, I kind of booked some of my cruises through Norwegian, and some of them I booked through, and I pronounce it Viator. It's V Victor, IATOR. And this one was a tour through Viator, was a D-Day beaches, shore excursion with a packed lunch from the Havre. And it was $218. So it was one of the more expensive, but it was still cheaper if I had gone that in. And so I did that, and quite a few people went to Paris, but like I said, I chose to go to Normandy. So anyway, this is an excellent company. I've used them for a number of years, almost 10 years now, with shore excursions, and in some of the cities I can use them if I'm going to do a hop-on hop-off bus, for instance, through in New York, or in shore excursions, or just excursions within a city. So an excellent company, but as far as port stops, they really have to, they're so well known, they get you back to the ship on time. And so I've never had a problem with them. And but they do guarantee if they're not back on the ship on time, they take you to the next port. So that's kind of a nice thing to know. Okay, anyway, so I just thought I'd explain that. I'm on the bus to go to Normandy. It's cold. November 28, 1943, the three leaders of the major Allied powers, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin, met in Iran. Despite British reservations, U.S. Army Chief of Staff George C. Marshall was clear that the war could only be won by a direct attack on German-occupied territory. The Big Three decided to invade mainland Europe by the spring of 1944. Preparations now began for the liberation of Nazi-occupied Europe through France, codenamed Operation Overlord. Our first stop of the day was Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach was one of 5 beach landing sectors of the amphibious assault component of Operation Overlord during World War II. Omaha refers to a 5-mile section of the coast of Normandy. Landings here were necessary to link the British landings to the east at Gold with the American landings to the west of Utah. The primary objective was to secure the beachhead 5 miles deep. I took a moment to walk on the beach and to reflect on the sacrifices made that day 80 years ago. On June 6, 1944, at 6:30 a.m., hundreds of courageous U.S. infantrymen from the 29th Division were killed by enemy fire whilst landing on this beach. The 88mm anti-tank gun in front of us faced around 30 tanks that had landed on the beach. Despite suffering losses, the American tanks finally managed to destroy the gun that morning. On the Pointe du Hoc Ranger Monument, overlooking Omaha Beach, the French erected to honor elements of the American 2nd Ranger Battalion. During the American assault of Omaha and Utah beaches on June 6, 1944, these U.S. Army Rangers scaled the 100-foot cliffs and seized the German artillery pieces that could have fired on troops on Omaha and Utah Beach. I chose to honor some of the sacrifices that were made. When you walk along the path, they have several different signs there with the rangers' names and what they had done. And then you'll see as we go, we walk around and we got to go inside a couple of the bunkers. And of course, I got a couple aerial views, not my pictures, but I used them, where you can see where the bombs had actually, made great big holes in the landscape and everything. But very, very sobering to look out onto the sea and see the beach and the bravery of these men to climb those cliffs with guns blaring at them from these bunkers and finally securing the point itself. So anyway, here we go for that. The 2nd Ranger Battalion surgeon, Captain Block, worked tirelessly to help the wounded at Pointe du Hoc. He assisted injured men in the field and at his makeshift battalion aid station in a damaged German bunker. He received the Silver Star for his efforts. He survived the Normandy campaign but was killed by German artillery while working at an aid station in the Hurtgen Forest on December 8, 1944. Eager to serve the war effort, Private Pavey was 17 when he joined the Army in 1943. On D-Day, he was part of 1st Lieutenant Charles Parker platoon, the first Rangers to reach Pointe du Hoc overland from Omaha Beach. Arriving just in time to reinforce the depleted Ranger force, he helped defend the coast road against German counterattacks that night. He was killed by German gunfire while on patrol the next morning. First Lieutenant Bryce and the rest of Company B of the 2nd Ranger Battalion landed at Omaha Beach after being diverted from Pointe du Hoc. After struggling through the surging waves, Bryce ran toward the sea wall where men of the first waves were seeking protection from the German fire. Before he arrived, he was killed by a burst of machine gun fire. Bryce is buried at the Normandy American Cemetery, Plot J, Row 11, Grave 16. Staff Sergeant Johnson was among the Rangers who advanced south from Pointe du Hoc in search of the missing guns. That night he defended a corner of the Rangers' defensive perimeter that bore the brunt of the first German counterattacks. Johnson was killed during the second counterattack when Germans overran his position. Awarded the Bronze Star posthumously, he is buried at Normandy American Cemetery, Plot J, Row 6, Grave 28. First Lieutenant Hill and his men began firing at the German defenders as their landing craft approached Pointe du Hoc. Atop the cliffs, Hill and several of his Rangers moved inland, where he fearlessly led an attack that knocked out a German machine gun position. Attempting to take out another machine gun later on D-Day, he was shot and killed by the alerted enemy soldiers. June 6, 1944 was Sergeant Gilden's 3rd wedding anniversary. He and his fellow Rangers sang songs to celebrate the occasion shortly before landing on Omaha Beach. The 23-year-old steelworker from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, was cut down by enemy fire within a few minutes of coming ashore. When his widow died in 2002 at age 78, she was buried by his side. Of the 350,000 Allied personnel who took part in the D-Day invasion, including the 156,000 troops who landed on Normandy's beaches, approximately 9,000 were casualties on June 6. By the end of the campaign for Normandy, the Allies suffered more than 200,000 casualties, including over 50,000 killed. The Normandy American Cemetery holds the remains of 9,387 Americans and memorializes 1,557 on the walls of the missing. No word came of the Rangers' success at Pointe du Hoc. Captain Wren and his company diverted to Omaha Beach with the rest of the 5th Ranger Battalion. The 5th Ranger Battalion played a key role in breaching the German beach defenses. Like most of the Rangers from Omaha, Wren broke through to Pointe du Hoc on the morning of June 8th, accompanied by elements of the 116th Infantry Regiment, 29th Infantry Division, and 743rd Tank Battalion. The relieving Rangers arrived in time to repel further German counterattacks. The first man off his craft, First Lieutenant Sidney Salmon, led his men against a network of German defenses on the bluffs above Omaha Beach. At the top, Salmon ordered his Rangers to clear out the German trench networks. Despite heavy fire, they eliminated the enemy defenses. Of the 39 men that landed with him, Solomon was one of 9 that made it to the last trench. He was awarded the Silver Star for his actions on D-Day. Despite being wounded soon after landing, First Sergeant Lamel wasted no time climbing the cliffs. Finding the 155mm guns were gone, he advanced inland accompanied by Sergeant Jack Kuhn. They found the missing guns hidden in a hedgerow about a kilometer south of the coast road. Lamel and Kuhn, assisted by another patrol of Rangers, disabled the guns with thermite grenades and rifles. Lamel received the Distinguished Service Cross for his actions at Pointe du Hoc. After becoming soaked in the rough seas, many of the heavily waterlogged rocket-propelled ropes fell short of the cliffs when fired. After losing 2 rope devices into the sea, Lieutenant Armand, on board LCA-887, removed his boat's remaining rocket launchers and carried them ashore to the base of the cliffs at Pointe du Hoc. Technical Sergeant Cripps launched each one by hand despite being under enemy fire. All 4 successfully caught hold. So after our tour of Pointe du Hoc, we couldn't eat there. We had lunch provided, so kind of like a picnic lunch. So the tour guide had the bus driver drive to a National Guard Memorial Park. And so we had bottled water, we had chips, and we had a really nice sandwich, ham and cheese baguette, and we had some macaroons. So very filling little lunch and a nice time to explore the little park a little bit. We were across the street from one of the common grave sites there for the French, and then of course the monument. So we had a nice stop there before going on to the cemetery. All right. Our last stop of the day was the Normandy American Cemetery and Memorial, and that is located in Collierville-sur-Mer, and it's located on the site of the temporary American cemetery that was established by the U.S. First Army on June 8, 1944, as the first American cemetery on European soil in World War II. And they had to establish this, obviously, because they needed some place to bury the dead. So this is on that original site. The cemetery contains the graves of 9,388 of our military dead, most of whom lost their lives in the D-Day landings and ensuing operations. On the walls of the missing in the semicircular garden are inscribed 1,557 names, and the rosettes mark the names of those that have since been recovered and identified. We did have, our tour guide told a story of one of the soldiers. They found the body of somebody, and with DNA testing, they were able to establish that it was one of the soldiers that was on the wall of the missing. And so the family, and of course, you can only be buried in this cemetery if you had been involved with the Normandy assault. So he was laid to rest in the cemetery, and it was a very moving experience for the family, of course. But I want to say that the cemetery, the monument there, it's a big area, and it's very hard for me to get a lot of the pictures and of the map, but it has the map of the beaches. It has some quotes of what was happening. It was established on the walls there. So, and then from there we had another building that we could go into, that there was a movie that was shown, and then it had like a reflection pool that went looking out towards the Omaha Beach. But I didn't go downstairs to the movie. I just was in the room there. We just didn't have the time. But it was a very moving experience, and if anybody ever has a chance to go to Normandy, I highly recommend it as one of your stops on either on your cruise or your visit to France, because it was, to think of the sacrifices that were made that day to liberate the tyranny that was happening during the World War II. All right, so trying not to be too mushy, but it was a very good day, and to top it off with the cemetery was just excellent. On June 6, 1944, Allied troops fought to liberate the land where you are standing. Waves of men battled their way inland at Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword Beaches. The fighting was the bloodiest on Omaha Beach, with over 3,000 casualties on that day. battlefield belonged that morning to the thin, wet line of khaki that dragged itself ashore on the Channel coast of France. General Omar N. Bradley, U.S. First Army Commander. Was definitely a full day. We arrived early in the morning and we had all day and on into getting on the ship at 8:30. We got back to the ship about 6:30 by the time we got back in, and that I met up with my friends Cindy and Steve, who did something a little different. Unfortunately, their excursion that was to Paris had been canceled, along with many other people that was on that same tour. So unfortunately they weren't able to get out and go to Paris. Probably a good thing, because I heard Paris was raining. We were fortunate not to have the rain during the day, but they just spent the day at the port. So they had a wonderful day. And so we hooked up and had a cocktail beverage and had a little snack. It was just late at night already, but we did have a sail away from there and off into the sea, and wonderful, wonderful sunset. It was, each night there was a beautiful sunset, but it was like 10 o'clock at night. And so yours truly was kind of in bed pretty early almost every night, but enjoyed the full day. So all right, everybody, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just a little different for me because it was such a, like I mentioned, a somber day, and trying to give you some information regarding the beaches and the sacrifices and the cemetery. But if you like my video, I would ask humbly that you give me a thumbs up and to subscribe. I'm working hard to get these videos out there for you, so I hope that you appreciate that and subscribe, and look forward to my next port of call. next week I'll be releasing, the next one is Brussels, Belgium. And I have some things that I did that day, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. In the meantime, thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Love you all. Bye-bye.